Your question is a very good one, and why the Cypress became so prominent in flamenco culture? Well, in fact, from the 1920s up to the 70s, these 50 years, and even now, this Cypress idea of identifying the Cypress with the flamenco sound came so much deeply that now it seems there is no other alternative. Look, first of all, just analyze why this wood was prominent. Number one, because it was the cheapest one. This is the only answer to that, because that wood was and is still available in Spain. And then luthiers were making these guitars for flamenco players, who generally would be people of poor people. So there was an economic limitation to the thing, and then they chose that wood which was available when imported goods were not an option, because it was very expensive. And then, well, also the civil war in Spain and all that. So, in fact, historically, if you observe, the Cypress wood was into the picture because of its availability and because it's cheap. Right? For these two reasons, not because of the quality of sound. There is nothing that I can play on a Cypress guitar which I cannot do here. Actually, the cherry guitars, this blanca, because if you want a female guitar, watch at the description of what's male female in case you don't know. If you want a female guitar, then cherry is much better option than Cypress. Why? Because it has all what the Cypress had times 3 and more than that, which means presence on the tone, which Cypress is skinny flat tone, which is just flat and it's a trebly sound, is not good really. That's why Paco eliminated it. In fact, you just remember historically this fact that Paco de Lucia eliminated Cypress guitars for 40 years of his career and introduced the negra concept, the Rosewood guitar. Why? Because with that guitar there, you had a deeper tone, right? And then therefore Cypress he used in very rare, he used it sometimes, but also at the very beginning, and you see the very earliest videos of Paco, he's playing sometimes Cypress guitars, which he tried many. And in fact, there were fantastic builders like Santos or Barbero, which did instruments made out of Cypress. Now, Cypress, that's one thing, and the other is that the Cypress as wood. Cypress as wood, it was introduced only because of its availability and low price, not because of its quality. Because this tradition of making instruments, if you see historically, this comes out of violin making also, which is older tradition. And therefore in violin making, well, Stradivarius, why Stradivari did not use Cypress? If Cypress was so great, tone and all that, why he didn't use it for his violins instead of maple? I will ask this question. This is number one. And the other is that what you are saying, that is the fact that many people just say an opinion that, well, Cypress is the best wood for flamenco, and Cypress is the only traditional wood like that. They are just parroting this stuff, because really speaking, they don't have even a known personal point of view on the subject. Because to have a personal point of view on the subject, then you would have to play other female guitars like this cherry guitar, the maple guitar, the satin east or west Indian satin wood, etc. Other types of female guitars which replace for good the cypress wood, and which have the characteristic of a very refined treble sound, and also have more projection and more power than the cypress. So if you don't play those, how you will say an opinion about it? It's just that's parroting thing. Parroting is not knowledge. If you repeat something, I can teach a parrot to repeat something. Cypress is good, cypress is good, cypress is good. And he can go there 100 years like that. But that doesn't mean one thing really. What is your own insight on that? And then probably when you try maple wood or other guitars, probably you will not agree with me. Then no problem. You have to find your own conception and your own point of view of the subject. So that's true, that people sometimes just keep saying things that they heard, they listen to these things from others, and then they keep repeating that as if that were their own opinion. This is totally true. This is because of this parroting business, what I'm telling you. But really speaking, if you take a perspective of the subject, really, scientifically, this perspective has to be testing other instruments which could be made with different woods to replace the cypress, and then you can get an opinion about it. But unless you have that background and your only experience is on cypress guitars, what you are going to say? So also, you told me this in the email, understand this guy is saying cypress is great because he got one cypress guitar, he plays that, so what he will say, right? This is not an objective, really, analysis of it, right? Because then I'm talking about, I don't want to feel bad that the cypress sucks, which is true, right? It's in my opinion, I say. Right? So I have many friends who like cypress, but I don't like it anymore, and I learned to play on cypress guitar, same like Paco. Everyone in the flamenco world learned to play in a cypress guitar. But that doesn't mean this is the best option, or we have to stay like that forever. Why? Right? So maple wood has a long history of being proven as a great wood in sound, even for cases of sophisticated speakers and finest violins in the history, the Stradivarius or Guarneri, any of these are made of maple and also have the maple neck. Why? Why? Do you think they will want to save $3 there on the materials? No. Stradivarius didn't want to save $3 on the materials. That's why those violins are $2.5 million today. So one thing is about quality, and the other, this price-quality thing is incompatible. And therefore, the problem was that the flamenco community here did not have a lot of money to buy a guitar. And therefore, luthiers, they choose Cedar Neck and cypress wood, which was available and cheap. And then that's it. And then it became coins to the tradition thing. It was glued, attached to it. So much so that it's difficult to get out of the hook, right? But I did get out of the hook thanks to AG and to the experiments on new stuff, because things can evolve and can become better. In fact, there is a reason why Paco did eliminate cypress guitars from his life. In fact, before Paco there was no negra. Sabicas never played a Rosewood guitar, or Ramon Montoya, or any other player before Niño Ricardo, or any other. So it was Paco's idea to introduce this rosewood with the idea to get more tone and a more complete sound than what was available, that what the cypress can offer you, right? But there is actually, when they say, well, this is the flamenco sound means cypress. Who said that? You can just knock the argument saying this. You just ask who said, what is flamenco, first of all? Just first define what is flamenco. And then what is your level of understanding on the instrument? Second question. Now third, how is that flamenco means cypress? Because who said it? Because everybody does it? So guess what? That's not really very, this is a very cheap argument also. Because unless it is proven, and even if you don't like other woods but cypress, then that's okay. But is it that you don't like it, or is it that you haven't tried any of other choices, which could be maple wood or the cherry wood back on side like this? There is nothing I can. You see what I played at the beginning, these facetas from a chorrello, and this is not that cypress. It's 10 times more. So if I want a blanca, I take this guitar. I don't take a Cypress guitar. Why I have to do this obsolete? This Cypress thing is very obsolete. And in fact, if you analyze its history and why it was introduced, because of this price saving $3 there. So, you want to follow that? Well, then do it, no problem. But the life is not like that, and history of guitar making in Spain is also not like that. Right? So anything comes there as prominent because it's in vogue, and that got very deep. In fact, it's identified the very sound of Cypress, or using Cypress wood became synonymous to guitar, flamenco guitar, even if it has classic measurements, the instrument, the bridge, and everything. So watch the description, some relevant videos about it. But in fact, the Cypress is a mythology thing. This is just a mythological story. It's not true that it's so great. And otherwise, why Paco did eliminate it? Just think about it. And well, now with this deep blanca thing, then we can use both as well, the negra and the blanca, because the blanca is not anymore now. This guitar has a bigger tone than any negra common guitar. So, of course, when you take a rosewood guitar, that is different. That's different between male and female. You have to know that also as well. And those are the hidden reasons why Paco did try to search for another wood, because Cypress was not good enough for him. Therefore, playing the tablao or chaka-chaka stuff there is not the same like playing real music. When you play real music, you need certain tuning, certain harmonics, and certain range of dynamics that the Cypress don't give you. One problem is that it does not respond. It means that if I play the notes softly or louder, it does not give me the hit of the note. I can play very strong and it does not respond to the instrument. That's why Paco did not like that, because of that. I asked him personally this thing. So I'm telling you, this is very important. And of course, as he was a very humble man, never said it or openly like, you know what, Cypress sucks, because we didn't want to offend anyone. But as you're asking this, and my duty as a teacher is to answer your question, which nobody's paying me to answer, by the way, then I feel obliged to say the truth, and the truth is that you deserve respect, treated with respect, and respect means you speak what's the truth, and the truth is that the Cypress, it came into the picture because of its price only, low price. So price and quality are incompatible. If you will decide what's good because it's the cheapest option, then that's not very good. And watch the description this video, but I did explain this in detail, that this ratio of quality price thing is really, it doesn't exist. It's not true that you can put the price and the quality comparison. One thing is quality and the other is price. So if you want to save money, then you get the Cypress thing, and that's how they want to get more profit out of it, luthiers, by getting the cheapest wood. Did they experiment on other similar woods or better than that, or there is no better than Cypress? Because this assumption will lead us to the conclusion that Cypress is the only wood for flamenco. Why? Because 80 years was so? It's like if I said that we should stay with the cars made last century because those transport people and everyone bought those. Yeah, but even today, one characteristic in flamenco guitar, playing and in making guitars, also both things, is the obsolete stuff is around like anything, being played and overplayed, and they are not even knowing that's obsolete, because they haven't tried to do something different. But AG did try, and guess what? They succeed. So this is what the thing, and of course you have to try yourself and see what you like more, right? But for me, and also for Paco said that very clearly, he did it, introduce another wood, right? So in 99% of his recordings he's using, in very rare occasions, he had some collection guitars older, 1920 and 1940 like that, made of Cypress, and sometimes he also played that at home. One thing is that he played in the stage, he played not the best guitar, and that also I will put in the description of this video. He said it in El País interview directly. That's a guitar for the job only. It's not the guitar he likes more, and its playability certainly is not the good one. So many players will use different things. You have to find your own path, but don't go along with what everybody says is parroting, because parroting is not knowledge. Right? If I repeat something like parrot, someone said, Cypress is good, I said it, that's not knowledge, and that's not have you experienced other guitars? No, then how can you say it? You cannot say that, right? You are talking only from your own contracted, limited experience. So if you acquire a wider experience or ask some people, just like you are placing this question, then you will take a larger perspective, right? So everything is about your own point of view. Forget about what others said, what I said, what Paco said. What do you say? You sit there, you play, you feel it. But it's true, in fact. Some things are objective, are not subjective, and cherry wood is completely superior to the Cypress. The Cypress is very obsolete, just like the Ebony Fret ones are obsolete to me, right? And to many friends who try. Someone who tried a guitar like that, they just want to sell the Cypress one. So this is the very proof, right? But it has to be based on knowledge, not on parroting. Parroting is not knowledge. So knowledge you get by your own experience, personal experience, under proper guidance. Okay, thank you. I'll see you next time.